why we're still wasting time on this. He's been micromanaging. It's like he thinks he's the only one who knows here. It's ridiculous.
Megan, you're not muted.
Oh.
Why is he running this company? I swear, every time he speaks, it feels like we're being lectured by some low life. The voice was sharp. And worst of all, she thinks she's muted. On the screen, 9 executives stare at their monitors in frozen shock in the Monday morning board meeting. At the center, in the highlighted frame, sits Dawson Aaliyah, the CEO, black, calm, sharply dressed in a navy suit, and suddenly still as stone. The woman speaking, Carla Jensen, Senior Executive Vice President, leans back in her chair, sipping coffee, unaware that every hateful word is spilling live into the meeting. She adds a soft, mocking laugh. Honestly, I'm shocked the board let someone like him run an $8 billion company. And don't get me started on how he talks, always so serious like he's trying to sound smart. She snorts. He should be grateful he even got a seat at this table. I mean, let's be real, he wasn't hired for merit. The room goes silent. No one moves. 9 squares frozen in horror. Carla still doesn't know she's fully unmuted. She still thinks her camera is off. She keeps going. And this whole meeting is a joke. I swear, if we had a real CEO, maybe our numbers wouldn't be drowning. But hey, at least he checks the right boxes, right? Across the grid, jaws clench. Mouths open. A few executives look like they're about to be sick. HR's tile flashes red, recording enabled, mandatory compliance auto-archive. And the CEO? He just sits there, quiet, still. Eyes locked somewhere in the middle distance, as if her words have pushed him back into a place far older and far deeper than this meeting. But then, Carla freezes. She looks at her screen. Her face falls. She sees the red microphone icon next to her name. It's not muted. Her voice shakes. Oh wait, did everyone hear? Too late. The digital silence after her words is heavier than gunmetal. Real quick, if you're feeling the tension already, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Before today, Dawson Aaliyah was the kind of man people underestimated. Not because he was weak, but because he never raised his voice. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried himself like someone who had seen wars of the soul and come out alive. He had deep, steady eyes, the kind that didn't flinch even when the world spat in his face. He spoke softly, dressed simply, and moved like a man who spent years learning to control storms. To outsiders, he looked like the calm CEO. To insiders, he was a mystery. To Carla, he was a target. No one at this table knew his full story. They didn't know about the 4 years he spent living out of a broken-down truck while caring for his little sister after their parents died. They didn't know about the decades he spent rising from janitor to top engineer to division chief, fighting prejudice every step of the way. They had no clue about the medals tucked away in a small wooden box at home, medals he never spoke about, medals earned overseas in places he still dreamed about at 3 a.m. They didn't know he'd saved lives. They didn't know Congress once awarded him a civilian hero distinction under a different name, one he'd changed to escape unwanted attention. They didn't know the quiet man they dismissed was one of the most decorated and respected crisis strategists in the country, someone the Pentagon had personally phoned during a national emergency. They didn't know the truth. Dawson Aaliyah was not ordinary. He was a sleeping giant. And today, Carla had chosen to poke him. Carla scrambles to hit her mute button, her face pale and trembling. Everyone, I didn't mean it like that. That was taken out of context. Context, mutters Ethan Coles, the head of research. Carla, you basically just burned your entire career in under 60 seconds. Shut up, Ethan, she snaps. You always think you're better than me. And don't start playing hero now. Her eyes dart across the meeting. You all know it's true. He was hired because the board wanted some diversity push, and now look at us. Our stock is down, our sales are down, and he keeps acting like we should listen to him. HR clears her throat. Carla, this meeting is being recorded. Carla laughs nervously. Well, maybe HR should stop forcing these scary new compliance rules on us. Why is everything automatically recorded now? This is basically reverse discrimination. She says the words like she's proud of them. A few executives shift uncomfortably. Carla leans forward, her face ugly with anger. And you, Dawson, come on. Just admit it. You got this job because they didn't want to pick another white guy. The moment shatters the last bit of restraint in the room. Raga Moriadis, head of operations, slams his palm on his desk. What the hell is wrong with you, Carla? But Carla isn't done. She stabs a finger at the screen. He should step down right now. I'm sick of pretending he belongs here. People like him always play the victim when they get called out. She smiles smugly. Come on, Dawson. Say something. Don't just sit there looking like you're about to cry. The CEO's face doesn't move. Silence, deep, shaking silence, fills the boardroom tiles. He finally speaks. Very quietly. Carla, are you finished? She rolls her eyes. Oh, so now you grow a backbone? Finally. Dawson slowly straightens his tie. Not out of vanity, but out of discipline. The kind he learned years ago standing in front of commanding officers. His voice remains calm. Carla, before I respond, there is something you, and everyone here, needs to understand. He clicks one button. A folder appears on the shared screen. Classified service record, Dawson Aaliyah. The executives gasp. Carla squints at the screen. What is this? Dawson continues. I never share this. Not publicly. Not to the board. Not even to the press. But today it matters. He scrolls. Medals. Commendations. A letter from a president. Another from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. A record of covert missions, strategic operations, and national-level crisis responses. His voice stays soft. For 15 years I served this country. I served people who looked like me. And people who didn't. He clicks again. A photo appears. Dawson in full tactical gear, carrying a wounded soldier on his back while explosions erupt in the distance. That soldier survived, Dawson says quietly. Even after the doctors said he shouldn't have. He clicks again. A letter from a senator appears. Your leadership under impossible pressure saved thousands of lives. Carla's face drains of color. Wait, what is this? Why are you showing this? Dawson turns his eyes to her. For years I let people like you speak to me as if you knew who I was. As if my quiet meant weakness. As if my skin meant inferiority. His voice lowers. You never knew me, Carla. But now you do. He closes the file. The silence is suffocating. Carla looks dizzy. Her hands shake. Her breath stutters. Dawson, I didn't know any of that. He nods slowly. You didn't care. Carla swallows hard. I'm sorry, okay? Look, I was having a rough morning. You took what I said wrong. HR's voice cuts in, professional and cold. Carla, the system flagged your remarks before you even realized you weren't muted. You violated 5 separate conduct codes. And given the content of your statements, legal review is already initiated. Carla starts crying. No, wait. This can't be happening. Dawson, please, tell them you forgive me. Tell them this is a misunderstanding. Dawson looks at her with an expression empty of anger, but full of truth. I don't hate you, Carla, he says. But hate is not required for consequences. Her breath catches. But I could lose my job. Dawson's eyes don't soften. You already did. She freezes. What? He repeats calmly. You're fired, Carla. Effective immediately. The entire board jolts. HR nods. It's within his authority. And given the evidence, termination is mandatory. Carla's voice becomes a broken whisper. My job, my salary, my house, my life. Dawson, please. Dawson closes his eyes for a moment. A quiet moment, not of cruelty, but of deep, exhausted truth. You destroyed your own career today, he says. All I did was stop letting you hide. Her tile goes dark. Just like that. Instant karma. For a long moment, nobody speaks. Ethan wipes a tear from his eye. Raga stares down, ashamed that he never noticed how Dawson was treated before. Mauri Uenga whispers, We failed you, Dawson. All of us. Dawson shakes his head gently. No, you didn't fail me. You failed yourselves. The words roll quietly across the digital room, hitting harder than any shout. The morning after Carla Jensen's firing, the story had already leaked. Even though no one from the board said a word, someone who had witnessed the disaster live couldn't hold it in. By dawn, the clip, blurred names, blurred faces but unmistakably real, had spread across social media like wildfire. People were angry. People were loud. People wanted justice. But the man at the center of the storm, Dawson Aaliyah, walked into the company headquarters the next day with the same quiet steps he always had. He didn't dress differently. He didn't puff his chest. He didn't call a press conference. He just walked through the parking lot holding a simple leather briefcase stitched at the corners by his late father. The sky above him was gray, heavy with the promise of a storm. Inside the building, whispers filled the halls. Is it true? Did she really say that to him? I heard he used to work in military intelligence. No, he was some kind of secret agent. I saw the file. Dude has medals nobody in this building has ever seen. But the strangest part? When Dawson walked inside, everyone went silent. Not fearful. Not awkward. Just humbled. Even the receptionist, who never remembered anyone's name, stood up. "Good morning, Mr. Elia." And for the first time in years, he felt like people were actually seeing him, not the surface, not the stereotypes, not the assumptions. The boardroom was unusually packed. Not just executives, legal teams, HR directors, compliance officers, even representatives from shareholders who normally only showed up for quarterly earnings. When Dawson walked in, they all stood. All except one man. At the far end of the table sat Jared Wainfield, a wealthy shareholder who had always opposed Dawson's leadership from day one, and not quietly. A man who used coded language like culture fit and executive polish. A man who voted against Dawson's hire. A man who said phrases like, "We just need someone who matches the company's image." Jared didn't stand. Jared didn't look up. Jared just scrolled through his phone, pretending not to notice the CEO's presence. But Dawson saw him. Everyone saw him. And the air got tighter. The chairperson, Michelle Royce, cleared her throat. "Let's begin. We have a crisis situation and we need to handle it properly." Crisis. Funny word to Dawson. He'd lived through actual crises. Explosions, evacuations, broken bones, burning buildings, nights where the stars looked like silent witnesses to death. This was just another Tuesday. Michelle continued, "The clip of Carla's comments is circulating. People are calling it racial misconduct, hostile work culture, discriminatory leadership environment." Jared raised a hand sharply. "I move we distance the board entirely from the CEO's decision yesterday." The room tensed. Dawson didn't blink. Michelle stared at Jared. "Excuse me?" Jared leaned back, smug. "We all know these online mobs exaggerate everything. Carla said something inappropriate, sure. But the CEO fired her live in a meeting? That's extreme. And now the company name is trending. Negatively." He smirked. "Maybe the issue isn't the employee. Maybe the issue is leadership." The board inhaled sharply. There it was. The next attack. The next attempt to humiliate. Carla was gone, so Jared stepped into her place. Dawson watched him with the calm of a man who had stared down snipers. Jared pointed at Dawson with the tip of his pen. "You mismanaged this entire situation. You embarrassed us publicly. You weaponized your position. And we cannot have a CEO who acts emotionally because of personal offense." He leaned forward, eyes narrowed. "We need someone who can lead without letting their background affect decisions." There it was again. Background. That poison-coated word. Ethan Coles muttered under his breath, "This guy is unbelievable." Jared continued, voice oily with condescension. "I think we should call an immediate vote of confidence. Or lack thereof." The room erupted. "What? You can't be serious? He just saved us legal liabilities? This isn't about leadership, Jared." Jared slammed his palm on the desk. "Oh, stop pretending. Half of you never wanted him as CEO anyway. You only voted yes so the press wouldn't call you outdated." He smirked at Dawson. "Your entire reputation is built on sympathy, not skill." The words floated in the air like acid. And everyone waited. For Dawson. For anger. For outrage. For something. But instead, he smiled. Just a small, tired smile. And he finally spoke. "Jared," Dawson began softly, "may I ask you a question?" Jared scoffed. "What?" "Do you know why I never revealed my past until yesterday?" Jared shrugged. "Because you're dramatic?" Dawson shook his head gently. "No. Because I didn't want people like you to feel threatened." The room froze. Dawson placed a thin black folder on the table. "This is a letter from the Department of Defense thanking me for leading a classified hostage rescue mission in Calabar Province 11 years ago." He opened the folder. "This is a commendation from the governor's office for evacuating civilians during the power plant explosion in East Ridge." Another page. "This is a private note from a soldier who said I saved not only his life, but his family's future." Another. "This is a transcript of testimony from a mother whose daughter survived because of an operation I coordinated." He closed the folder. "I don't share these things because I don't need applause. But I am done letting people like you question whether I earned my place." Jared finally looked up, eyes wide, shaken. Dawson continued, voice firm. "You think leadership is about power. But real leadership is about sacrifice. It's about standing in danger so others can stand safely. He leaned forward. You sit in air-conditioned rooms judging people whose battles you've never lived. The boardroom was silent as a grave. Dawson's eyes locked onto Jared's trembling ones. You want a vote of confidence? Dawson said calmly. Let's vote. The chairperson raised a hand. All in favor of affirming Dawson Elia as CEO. Hands shot up. One after another. Almost every tile turned bright with raised fingers. Opposed? Jared's was the only hand. The chairperson nodded. Motion passed. By overwhelming majority. Jared swallowed bitterness, rage, fear, everything. His power was dead. And everyone knew it. Michelle turned toward Jared. Given your comments and conduct, I motion for your removal as a voting shareholder representative due to violation of ethics protocol. Jared jumped up. You can't do that. I have rights. Mauri Uenga stood. You used your power to belittle and attack. That ends today. Raga Moriatis added, you targeted Dawson for years. We all saw it. Legal counsel spoke up. The board has full authority to revoke your seat for misconduct, which you have repeatedly demonstrated. Jared's voice cracked. This is insane. Dawson, tell them to stop. Tell them. But Dawson calmly slid a document across the table. You did this to yourself, he said quietly. Jared read the page, his own past remarks, complaints filed by co-workers, unethical lobbying attempts, and his knees weakened. No. The board voted. Unanimously. Jared's title was stripped. His influence evaporated. His reputation shattered. Instant karma. Again. And this time the room didn't mourn him. When the meeting ended, people slowly approached Dawson. Ethan shook his hand. You shouldn't have had to endure any of that. Mauri placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. You changed this place today. You changed us. Raga bowed his head. I'm sorry we didn't see the whole picture. Dawson didn't lecture. He didn't gloat. He didn't boast. Instead he simply said, thank you for listening. He walked out of the boardroom, down the hallway, and into the sunlight that poured through the giant glass lobby. For the first time in years he felt light. Free. Upright in a world that often tried to bend him. Outside, a young intern stopped him. Sir, she whispered wide-eyed, how did you stay so calm when they were so cruel? Dawson looked down at her, saw innocence, saw fear, saw hope. His answer was simple. Because storms don't scare mountains. She gasped softly. And he walked away. A mountain. A giant. A quiet warrior finally seen for who he was. If this finale moved you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next dramatic story. If you were in Dawson's place, would you have stayed calm, or confronted them earlier? Tell us in the comments.